service
Wow.
to this district. So when you think about that amount of time, these are special people that have had a huge impact in our district. We'll first go with those who are present tonight. I'm going to share, either I or their supervisor will share a few words about them, and then each board member has someone to recognize with a special presentation. So first is Mike Scobie. So if you want to come on up.
Should I come up here?
Yes.
Sure.
So Marty Silva is our Director of Technology, and we'll say a few words about Mike before we present him with his recognition.
Turn on your
Oh.
Just hold it down till light comes on.
Numbered mine.
There you
Should
go.
know technology, right?
Need some help, Marty?
Yeah, I'd just like to start to just say a few words about Mike Scobie. He's been in this district for 25 years. And if you think about how much technology has changed in 25 years, we can all go back in our time machines. And back in the year 2000s, we didn't have iPhones. We still had dial-up. If you guys remember dial-up at home. Some of us were still using floppy disks. And Mike started here working for the district at the same time that the high school was being built. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt,
It just opened that year.
it just opened that year. And through it all, he's been able to adapt and learning new technologies in the 25 years. And you think of all the knowledge that has to happen, and you all know how fast technology moves, and all of that knowledge and all of that determination and adaptation that he's had to do to get the district from basically non-technology back in the 2000s. The only technology that was usually used in school districts were in the offices and maybe a lab or two, until how it is now, where there's a computer in every student's hands, both what we provide them and the phones that they have in their pockets. So it's really a testament to Mike's determination, Mike's dedication to this district to be able to be of service to this district for 25 years. And it was really a big help to me when I came in here 11 years ago. I was really, really lucky to have somebody like Mike to be able to come into, and it was just such a smooth transition for me, and that was a lot due to Mike and his knowledge. And to think of the institutional knowledge that comes with somebody who works in the district for 25 years, that's just irreplaceable, as is for a lot of our retirees who've been here for many, many years. So I would just like to personally thank Mike Scobie for his 25 years of service, and to wish him well for whatever the future holds for him.
Great. Mike, if you'll come on up. Marty, if you want to stay up, and then we'll get a picture with you with Mike and Mike.
I didn't warn them about pictures.
Okay, just look at me. And one. Say retirement.
Notice the
Thanks.
smile got bigger when you said.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, next up is Tamara Morgan. And I don't think Terry was able to come tonight, but she did send me something in case she wasn't able to get here. So I'll read that real quick. Tamara Morgan has been in the district for 23 years. Is that right, Tamara? You've been an active member of the Elizabeth community for many years. Both of your children attended school from preschool through 12th grade and graduated from the Elizabeth School District. Family's also been involved in 4-H and numerous other local activities. Tamara began her career with Singing Hills Elementary 23 years ago when her youngest child, Shelby, started preschool. She started as a playground para and part-time kitchen staff before moving into a full-time kitchen position. Her dedication and strong work ethic stood out, and it wasn't long before she was promoted to kitchen manager. Tamara has remained a valued and respected leader for the food service team. Terry wants to say, enjoy your retirement, Tamara, and thank you for the many years of hard work, and I echo that. Thank you, Tamara, for your hard work. So if you'll come up.
I'll come to you. Thank you.
And Singing Hills is going to miss Tamara.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up is Carl Zander. Carl has been with the district for 27 years. Carl and Ginger, his wife, have had children through our district. Also, both his wife and his daughter, I believe, still work for the district. So we are very lucky to have Carl. Carl has been really the cornerstone of our math department at the high school. I know last year when he announced he was going to retire, everyone panicked because Carl has taught the advanced math for so long. We were blessed to have Carl come back and teach A class this year. So he did teach A class during this year. And I think this is it for him. I don't think we're going to be able to convince him to come back. We might try at times, but I don't think we're going to be successful. But anyways, Carl is just, I can tell you every student who has had Carl has done nothing but rave about him. I can say he's probably the most complimented teacher in the district. When I get emails from parents, typically I would say 5 out of 10 are about Carl, and just about his tireless dedication to students, his willingness to help them after school, his commitment to their success. And we're really going to miss Carl. We still have his wife, so we're going to hold her hostage for a little while. But anyways, so Carl, congratulations. And I will say Brett is out of town. He's actually overseas, so he couldn't be here to recognize Carl tonight, but certainly he's here in spirit. So, and then our final, is Shauna here?
Yep.
Oh, there's Shauna. You were hiding behind Alicia there. Shauna, AG. I always say AG, and I think I'm saying it wrong, but Shauna has been with the district for 21 years. Shauna actually retired a year ago, and we convinced her to come back. And originally it was come back part-time, and then we've made her come back full-time. And so we've really been lucky to have Shauna. Shauna, I would say, is one of those other teachers that I do get emails about regularly, just from parents who just adore her. She has taught so many children in this district, and so she's kind of a rock star in all of our schools. Everyone remembers Mrs. Agee. Again, her children have also attended Elizabeth School District. And we've just been so lucky to have her come back, and maybe we can convince her in the future to come back again. I don't know, we'll keep twisting her arm, but I do think she has some plans for some fun and relaxation in the coming year. So Shauna is just a great member of our Running Creek Elementary team. I didn't say that, Running Creek. But again, we're so lucky to have her. So Mary, I think, is going to do the honors for Shauna. And hopefully she won't change her phone number so that we can. Everyone stay put. We've got cake. We're going to take a recess and celebrate with you for a little bit. But I do want to recognize the folks who couldn't come tonight. We also have Karen Nelson, who has been a custodian at Singing Hills Elementary for 21 years, who is retiring. She's already moved and out of the area, so we are getting her recognition to her. Deb Nicholas, who has been our bookkeeper at the high school for 15 years. Deb is also retiring, and just again has been an amazing member of that team. Tina Waymeyer, who is our accounts payable specialist, she has been with the district for 31 years. Wow. When you think about longevity, Tina has really been kind of the bedrock. We actually have a very strong longevity in our business department, and so Tina is retiring. And then lastly, Danny Varela, who everyone who has a child at the high school knows Danny. So I don't know who they're going to call when Danny's not there, but Danny has been our attendance secretary and has been with the district for 27 years. And so we really are lucky to have these. Rhonda and Jamie and I have talked for a long time about the fact that we have to do more recognizing the service of our retirees. So this is our first step this year, and trying to bring retirees in to give them some recognition. We're going to continue to build upon this because we really feel like these people have dedicated their lives to our school district and to our children, deserve some additional recognition. So congratulations to all of our retirees. And, Madam President, I recommend we take a recess so that we can cut some cake and
All right.
and visit with these folks.
Let's take a short recess. Okay,
Well, that was fun.
yeah, it was.
Let's do that more often.
All right, we will go ahead and kick off the
Yeah.
board member reports.
Yeah, maybe for just another reason for the cake.
So if anybody has anything they want to share?
I don't have anything in particular.
Yeah.
It's been, I know we're busy working on next steps for next year, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
So I think Dan's gonna talk a little bit about that.
Okay, well, we'll let you take it.
Okay, all right, well, I just have a few, busy preparing is my first one. Obviously, we've got a lot of initiatives underway for next year, and we have been talking with our contractors and making plans, crossing our Ts, dotting our Is to make sure that everything is in place. I am excited to report that our CFO, Justin Henry, has been pretty doggedly pursuing a fix for Frontier. Obviously, we know right now that we have a portion of the roof that has significant leaks in it. The cost to repair that roof is about $1.2 million to replace it. We then received a bid that was the partial roof, that's where the bulk of the concerns are. The front of the roof, the front facing Banner Street is actually in pretty good shape. But it's the backside that's the problem. We got another bid of $790,000 that was moving in the right direction, but still a little out of reach. Justin has called in a number of roofers to look at the engineering report and has been able to find a roofer who will make a 3-year commitment on a repair for a very reasonable cost. And so at this point in time, we are pursuing that. So we look forward to continuing to have Frontier open for use. Our homeschool program is excited because that is an important building to them for our homeschool families who have their children come together once a week to be enriched. And that's in partnership with Legacy. A couple other summer projects, just want to let people know.
What's the timeline on that?
Timeline, we're hoping by July 15th that repair will actually be in place. We don't
Okay.
have a firm contract yet, but I'll let you know as soon as we have that date.
Days, not months.
No, the days,
Good.
not month,
Okay,
exactly.
good.
Yeah.
And just to reiterate, I know before there were concerns of mold.
Yeah.
But that
There
is
is
not
no
a
mold.
concern.
Obviously, if we don't repair the leaks, mold will form. We're continuing to monitor mold throughout the summer, so we actually are testing regularly just to make sure that none is forming. Obviously, watching the areas that are leaking to ensure that there's no sign of that developing. So at this point, we're pretty confident that this repair will get us at least into a 3-year period of time. Obviously, we have that work with the University of Colorado, Denver, and DOLA, and that's probably the right time frame for some of that to begin to start happening.
So that will be the bigger picture, but for now, this gives a dry shell.
Getting it dried out so
use.
that we can use, the programs that are using it, programs that want to use it, will have access to that.
That's good.
to that building. Just a couple other summer projects, middle school parking lot, we do have a repair that will begin, I believe, July 1st. So we know that the parents at the middle school have mentioned that the parking lot is in pretty bad shape, and we agree. This will not be a permanent repaving of that lot because that is about $300,000 to actually do that. We have a contractor who is going to do a portion, that's the worst portion, and then repairs on the other sections so that we deal with some of the potholes that have formed and some of the uneven asphalt that has formed within that parking lot. So that repair will be starting on July 1st and done before school begins. We're also doing some crushed asphalt in our bus lot. Anyone who's driven by our bus lot knows that we have a dirt lot. We are now sharing our pumps with the fire department and the police department in the town of Elizabeth. And so obviously the additional traffic in that lot is only going to make deeper ruts in the dirt. So we have actually a contractor who will do crushed asphalt, compact it, seal it, and that will be done also here in the next 3 weeks. So we're excited to get that done. It's going to make the parking lot much more accessible, not only for our buses, but for our partners. And then finally, Elizabeth Middle School is almost completely painted inside. Andrew Rodriguez, our Director of Facilities, has single-handedly taken that project on and has been working tirelessly the last couple of weeks to try to get that building repainted. So when you walk in, it's much brighter, it's a lighter color, so it really does make the whole building feel different. We've got several other things underway at the middle school as well. So needless to say, people driving by our schools will see that they're not closed. We've got lots of work happening, just not education right now. We have work on the buildings to get them ready for the next round of school year. So I think that's all I have.
Okay, no public comment? Okay. So next up, we have consent items. I move that the board approve consent items 8.1 through 8.5 as presented.
Second.
Can you get a roll call?
Director Callahan?
Aye.
Director Fletcher?
Aye.
Director Olson?
Aye.
And Director Powell?
Aye.
Okay, next up, we have action items. Our first action item is a Chromebook purchase authorization. I move that the board approve the purchase of 390 Chromebooks from Trifera LLC of Minnesota for the total purchase price of $95,550.
Second.
And discussion.
Yeah. Marty Silva is here if you have any questions. This is our yearly replacement, which a bulk of that happens with our ninth graders coming in, and then typically our middle school Chromebooks that have aged out. So that's the bulk of this, is to obviously issue new Chromebooks to our ninth graders. At high school, you get your Chromebook in ninth grade and you keep it until you graduate and you turn it back in. So again, if you have any questions, Marty is here. Appreciate Marty staying tonight in case you had any.
So this is pretty much an annual event?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the number fluctuates based on, we've had as high as 425 one year, as well as 380, stuff like that. I think last year we purchased 390 exactly as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the RFP was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And it is a bid, so Marty went out to bid on, with a variety of different providers, and so we have the minimum of 3 bids, but Marty's done a great job in really trying to find the best price.
That's good.
And this was 5 bids, I'll come up here. So we did get
Turn it
5
back on.
bids. This is not the lowest bid, and we took a bid that was about $1,000 more, simply because the lowest bid, so we like to take our oldest Chromebooks and reuse them for parts. And so one of the bidders had a Chromebook that we would not be able to reuse screens in the future to replace other screens, if that makes sense. We spend about $30 per screen to repair. Screen repairs is our #1 repair item for our Chromebooks. So basically, if we had bought the lower cost Chromebooks in 4 or 5 years, we wouldn't have been able to then cannibalize them for parts, which include the screens, which is the one we use the most. And that's why we went with the one that was a little bit higher.
Yep.
Do we ever have throughout the year the need to buy, another 10 or 20 or 50 or something?
Usually not. That's why we try to get our good numbers in the summer.
Okay.
And then what happens is the ninth graders, as they graduate, they turn in those Chromebooks. And so we have a fleet of Chromebooks to either use as loaners,
Okay.
or to see maybe they can replace even older Chromebooks at like the elementary level, et cetera.
Right.
So what's your average life cycle on those? You keep them 3, 4, 5 years?
So for our high school, they're 4, but then we take them and then store them.
Okay.
And I would say within 7 years, they're usually decommissioned, and we get a recycling company to come in and take them. So, but generally speaking, after about 5 years, we take them out of circulation so that they're not used, and then we just use them for parts essentially.
So do the elementary kids then get kind of the older ones, or do they get from
We do, but we also try to cycle in the new replacements for them as well. So it just kind of worked out that most of these are for, the ninth graders, and then a fleet for our middle school. I think there might be one cart that we might be replacing at the elementary school level. I have to look at my notes, but generally speaking, the bulk of it goes to middle school, high school, and then where we need to replace them at the elementary school, then we'll replace them as well.
I was gonna ask you what you do for disposal, but apparently you do not. You do use.
Yeah, you take as much as you can, and when it's just a shell, we get the recycling company to come and take it.
Here's the Chromebook, all that's left is a keyboard.
Yeah.
All right,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Marty.
Okay, can I get a roll call?
Director Callahan?
Aye.
Director Fletcher?
Aye.
Director Olson?
Aye.
Director Powell?
Bye.
Okay, next up, we have the approval of the administrative, professional, technical salary schedules. I move that the board approve the administrative, professional, technical salary scale for the 25-26 school year as presented.
Second.
So we talked briefly about this at your retreat last week, just to give you kind of an overview of it. Again, we published our salaries for every group but administration and ProTech. ProTech are those people who have unique skills that require specific training, that are also under contract, meaning they're not paid hourly. They're typically paid a salary for the job that they do for us. So those are the two groups that we've put into that salary schedule that we'll publicly post once you approve it tonight.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, can I get a roll call?
Director Callahan?
Aye.
Director Fletcher?
Aye.
Director Olson?
Aye.
And Director Powell?
Aye.
Okay, next up, we have the Legacy Academy Charter School Budget Adoption. So I move that the board approve the 2025-2026 Legacy Academy Charter School budget as presented.
Second.
All right.
Just for the public, this is, Legacy Academy has their own board. Their board has approved their budget because we're their local education agency and we're their authorizer. This board also has to give their formal approval for that budget. And so you're just taking an action following their approval of their own budget this evening.
I looked at it, it looked pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Any further discussion on that? Okay, can I get a roll call?
Director Callahan?
Aye.
Director Fletcher?
Aye.
Director Olson?
Aye.
And Director Powell?
Aye.
Okay, so next up, we have our 2024-2025 supplemental budget and appropriation resolution. I move that the board approve the Elizabeth School District fiscal year 24-25 supplemental budget and appropriation resolution as presented.
Second.
This is an opportunity for us to just true up any accounts that we may have spent more than originally planned or less and moving that money around. So we always bring that supplemental budget prior to the end of the year for audit purposes. Obviously, the auditors want to know that you've approved the expenditures that were made during the year, and that's what this supplemental budget does. So.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, can I get a roll call?
Director Callahan?
Aye.
Director Fletcher?
Aye.
Director Olson?
Aye.
And Director Powell?
Aye.
Missing a sheet. Okay. Next up, we have the 24-25 beginning fund balance resolution. I move that the board approve the beginning fund balance resolution as presented.
Second.
So this particular resolution just acknowledges the fund balance that existed at the start of the year and allows a district, if we needed to dip into any of those, of course, based upon your approval. The fund balance that's probably most important is food service. We've talked for the last couple of years, the food service had developed quite a fund balance. We have been spending that down. We purchased a new box truck so that we're not Fred Flintstone with the rusted out floorboards anymore. And obviously they're reinvesting into new equipment in our kitchens, and so that's probably the fund balance that's most being spent down because it's been directed through the audit process and through our food service state department that we need to spend that down. So. But this just ensures that we state what our beginning fund balance was and your authorization should any of that be budgeted by you to spend.
Any further discussion? I think we talked about it. All right, so can I get a roll call?
Okay, Director Callahan?
Aye.
Director Fletcher?
Aye.
Director Olson?
Aye.
And Director Powell?
Aye.
And next up, we don't really have a motion, it's more of a discussion.
Yeah, so we've been waiting on our insurance quote. All of us know that our home insurance continues to go up, and so does the school districts. We have been in the process of soliciting. CRS is our, CRS Denver is our broker. They have been soliciting new bids for all of our insurances. The board will need to meet again in the next month to approve the final insurance quote. I did receive it at 11:55 today. Actually received it then and saw it after lunch today. Our insurance policies, which are everything from property crime, general liability, educators, legal liability, commercial auto, commercial umbrella policy, and the workers' compensation, is going up about $69,000 this coming year. Last year it went up similarly. I think we're seeing that within our home and auto insurances as well. So right now, if this policy that we were presented at noon today is the one that we bring to you, it would be an increase of $69,000. We did accommodate for that in the budget that you approved 2 weeks ago. We were told that it would be $60+ thousand of an increase. And so we are meeting with our broker tomorrow, and we'll go through this, make sure that we have taken into account all of the changes we've asked for. And then once we have the final insurance policy, we will bring that back to you for approval. So just to publicly share with you and with the community, it does look like our insurance will go up about $69,000 next year.
And that is for all district property?
That's for
Every
everything.
single
And our total insurance, let's see, 3, 4, is about $475,000 is our total insurance package. Again, that includes lots of different segments, but with that, it includes all insurances.
All right. Any further questions on that? Okay.
Does this cover us for all these legal?
Yeah,
Separate?
actually, no, those haven't impacted. It's really the hail and the weather in Elizabeth. There are very few carriers that will write commercial policies, and so we're pretty much continuing to bid out to the same insurance carrier. They have a couple of different providers under their umbrella, and typically we're getting one of their umbrellas, one of their policies. So, property is probably our biggest increase. That's $35,000, and we did have a couple of workman's comp claims this year, so that increased as well. So workman's comp and property is probably our biggest increases. So,
They're not frivolous lawsuits.
yeah, no.
Okay. So next up, we have our second reading of revised policy GBEBA, dress code for employees, volunteers. I move that the board approve the second and final reading of revised policy GBEBA, dress code for employees, volunteers as presented.
Second?
Okay, discussion.
I'll
Looks
just-
like all of the changes were put in there.
Yeah, and we did talk with our legal counsel who is comfortable with the changes also that are made, so there's no concerns that exist. I think we did capture the shoes, that we're looking for shoes firmly fastened to the feet, and really stated the reason, because obviously all of our employees need to be able to react in a crisis. And if you're wearing shoes that don't allow you to do so, that becomes a hindrance to our job as a school district. So at this point in time, we feel very comfortable that this policy is what we'd like you to approve, and so we recommend approval.
I'm comfortable with making it a final. I like the revisions that were made. Looks good.
And I like the fact that these, some of these requirements are because some things that have been worn or allowed in the past are distracting in the classroom. And so that's what we're trying to prevent.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah, and just, I think for the public to make sure we also draw attention, this isn't volunteers as well. So, you know, to have staff adhere to a dress code and then have people come in who are permitted volunteers who violate that. So this, we added the word volunteers to the dress code because we think any adult in that building should adhere to
Right.
this. And this is a business casual, just for the public who may not be looking at the policy itself. It is not asking for shirts and ties and dresses. It is just recognizing that, you know, business casual attire is what we expect. We expect you to be dressed for work and to look professional when you're within our buildings.
When volunteers are vetted, I guess, when they come in,
Mhm.
are they given a copy?
They will be given, yeah, this didn't apply to them in the past, but
Yeah,
now that it
but now
does,
they
they
will.
will be given, they will
They
be given
will.
this when they submit their volunteer application.
Okay. Can I get a roll call?
Director Callahan?
Aye.
Director Fletcher?
Aye.
Director Olson?
Aye.
And Director Powell?
Aye.
Okay, next up, we have our second reading of revised policy GBEE, staff use of the internet and electronic communications. I move that the board approve the second and final reading of revised policy GBEE, staff use of the internet and electronic communications as presented.
Second.
This policy contains several from CASB and class, our two board organizations, and also clarifies the use of cell phones to align with our JICJ policy. And I believe we went through the changes and made some adjustments based on your last round of input.
And it also has this new section that we didn't have that were on AI.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mary.
And that was the one change that we really wanted from that one, that was changing from aiding in curriculum development
Development
to
to delivery.
curriculum delivery. So, yes, thank you for doing that. The one thing that we do have to remember is, the next time, I guess, before the teachers will have to sign it, is to update the acceptable use agreement that is referred to in this, that they have to
Yeah,
sign. So,
yeah, and we'll do that on the following approval. Is it
I think it's all right.
Okay.
It just looks like it.
Yeah, yeah,
It kind of runs together.
yeah. Just wanna, we'll double check.
We'll double check
Just
it,
make
yeah.
sure,
Any further discussion on this one? Okay, with that, can I get a roll call?
Director Callahan?
Aye.
Director Fletcher?
Aye.
Director Olson?
Aye.
Director Powell?
Aye.
Next up, second reading of revised regulation KHC-R, distribution posting of promotional materials. I move that the board approve the second and final reading of revised regulation KHC-R, distribution posting of promotional materials.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
I think we captured all of your input from the last meeting. We did remove an appeal because this is probably not something the board should take up their time. Our intent is to ensure that we utilize distribution of materials to support the district mission of educating our kids and not to become the commercial distribution for everyone who wants to push something in our community. And so I feel like the changes are what you requested, and I believe it's ready for adoption.
I like the changes that were made.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Me too.
So I think it's pretty fair. It's a pretty fair policy.
Mhm.
Just puts some of the burden on the people who want you to
Right.
distribute stuff.
Right, exactly.
So, I'm okay with that.
I'm good.
Any further discussion? No? Okay, can I get a roll call?
Director Callahan?
Aye.
Director Fletcher?
Aye.
Director Olson?
Aye.
Director Powell?
Aye.
Okay, next up, first reading of revised policy BE, school board meetings. I move that the board approve the first reading of revised policy BE, school board meetings as presented.
Second.
This allows you to make some adjustments, which is the next item on the agenda. This required your second and fourth every month to have those 2 meetings. The board's discussed moving towards a combined board work session, board meeting occasionally during the year, just so that we are making best use of your time and then ensuring that you have time for the other things we're gonna ask you to do, like data reviews and things like that. So this change in the policy allows us to consider the next item on the agenda.
And we're moving to Tuesday.
And moving to Tuesday.
Yeah.
I am fine with it. I think that we can make this a final.
Yep.
Okay. So, I want to amend my motion and move that the board approve the first, and final reading of revised policy BE, school board meetings as presented.
Second.
And can I get a roll call?
Yep, sorry, ready. Director Callahan?
Aye.
Director Fletcher?
Aye.
Director Olson?
Aye.
Director Powell?
Aye.
I won't remember it.
All right, and next up is the actual proposed meeting schedule. So I move that the board approve this revised schedule for 2025-2026 for the Elizabeth School Board meeting. Approve the meeting schedule for the 25-26 as presented.
Second.
Okay. All right, any discussion on this one?
We've had a few revisions, or at least a couple, so.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be good to kind of have our working session and our business session
Can actually have
combined
time to
together.
discuss things before you act on them.
Right.
so.
And-
But
On
we've
the
got,
same night.
3 months, the August, January, and June months where we'll still have 2 separate meetings, but otherwise we'll have combined meetings and I think it'll be good.
And they're still starting at 6 on
Mhm.
Tuesdays. And I think they could be, well, didn't Dan, we talked about posting them separately.
Yep.
So if people can't make it to the work session, they are still could join and do public comment, and we'll work on the public comment policy to update it, but you'll do the public comment at the business session.
And didn't we say that you have to gavel each one open?
Yeah, yeah.
Individually?
There'll be
even
separate
if they're
minutes for
separate.
each section. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing I can see, which, if we go over, we go over, but on the combined meetings, I think 8 o'clock is kind of wishing.
Oh, does it still say
Yeah,
that?
It
Yeah.
still says 8. Yeah, we were thinking about making it 9, so.
And I'm happy to. I thought that's my bad. I thought I changed it to 9.
Is it an issue if we say 8 and we go over?
No.
I mean, we go over now sometimes, so,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
So-
But I'm happy to change it to 9, and we can
9 on
accept
those
the-
combined meetings might be more reasonable. I think the business
Yeah.
sessions alone, we could leave 6 to 8, but maybe on those combined meetings, let's go ahead and say 9.
I think they were 5 to 8, and then I
'Cause
changed them to
if we
6,
end
but never
early, it's
changed
not-
the 8.
it's not harmful either, so.
So change the combined to 9 and
6 to
accept
9,
it,
yeah.
the schedule like that. Okay, sorry about that. That's my
You
bad.
don't wanna get a frivolous lawsuit.
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
went
because
over.
we stayed at the wrong time.
Okay. So we're sending this back forward. Actually, you can just
as
revise it.
I
We'll
did.
just
Yeah,
approve the
yeah,
revisions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
approve
Okay.
as
With the 9
revised.
PM, okay.
Yep.
And I've got a second.
Yes.
So I move that the board approve the 2025-2026 Elizabeth School Board meeting schedule with revisions.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay. And can I get a roll call?
Director Callahan?
Aye.
Director Fletcher?
Aye.
Director Olson?
Aye.
Director Powell?
Aye.
Okay, next up, acceptance of board resignation and declaration of a board vacancy. I move that the board approve the board resignation of Jonathan Waller and declare a board vacancy.
Second.
Do we need to review the resolution, or?
I recommend
You're gonna
reading it out
post.
loud if you, or I'm happy to, whoever.
Let me read it. Got it right here.
Okay, be it resolved, the Board of Education of Elizabeth School District accepts the resignation of Jonathan Waller from the Board of Education effective June 10th, 2025. Be it further resolved that in accordance with state law, the board declares a vacancy in this school director office that will be filled by appointment by the board within 60 days in accordance with the following procedure. Interested persons are invited to send a letter to the board with a statement of interest and qualifications by 5 p.m. on July 15th, 2025, as outlined in the board member vacancy posted on the district website Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. Candidates will be contacted and the board may determine whether to move one or more candidates forward for further consideration. To be eligible for appointment, a candidate must be a registered elector of the Elizabeth School District for at least 12 consecutive months prior to the appointment and must not have been convicted of a sexual offense against a child. Colorado Revised Statute 22-31-10715. The appointee will serve until the next regular school biennial election in November of 2025.
So I'll post the, like I said, tomorrow.
Okay,
Morning.
perfect, thank you. Okay. Can I get a roll call?
Director Callahan.
Aye.
Director Fletcher.
Aye.
Director Olson.
Aye.
Director Powell.
Aye.
Okay, and last on the agenda is the distribution of district property, a school bus. So I move that the board approve the disposition of district property as presented.
Second.
This is one of our 60 series of buses. It's 22 years old. It has 225,603 miles. And it does have some damages, or not damages, but some issues that we declare at this point to be not worth repairing. And so therefore this bus we're asking to be able to dispose of, which means we'll sell it. So.
Okay, any discussion on that? All right, can I get a roll call?
Director Callahan.
Aye.
Director Fletcher.
Aye.
Director Olson.
Aye.
Director Powell.
Aye.
Okay, board planning new business.
Just, again, I'll let you know as soon as we have an insurance package that we've had a chance to review and ensure that it covers everything we need, and then we'll need to call a quick Zoom meeting for you to approve it. We'll get it to you in advance of that so you can review and ask any questions. So.
Perfect. All right, so our next board meeting, official board, I guess, I didn't call it official,
Scheduled.
non-Zoom,
Yeah.
is August 12th, 2025 here in the boardroom in the district office. And with that, I call this meeting adjourned at 6:59 p.m.
Wow.
With
See,
cake.
Makes you go through
With
fast.
cake.
With cake.
We just.